Hello everyone, you're listening to the 15th episode of the Inexperience Points Podcast. My name's James Jimmy Pap Shepherd, and what's the name of my host again?
I am Christopher McCormick, or Chris, it's fine.
Chris, nice to meet you, Chris.
And you, James.
We're here to talk about video games today, and I'd like to hear you start us off, if you don't mind. What have you been playing?
Yeah, that's fine by me. It kind of suits me, actually, because I think you've been, by the sounds of it, playing some quite perhaps epic, in-depth games, whereas I've been very much dabbling.
Okay.
So it kind of makes sense for me to start. Well, you can, based on what I've been dabbling with. But,
oh dear.
But yeah, I think this could be a nice little starter ready for your main course, so to speak.
I like it. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I've been playing, which is quite odd for me actually, but I've been playing toilet games outside of my toilet game.
Wow, all the toilet games.
So would you rather me start with the bad or the kind of good?
Let's start with some positivity, shall we? Lay the kind of good on me.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So what I did, I don't know why, but I think because of the issue with Wobblers being a bit shit, I was looking for a new toilet game before you actually gave me my toilet game.
Right.
And I looked at a post that suggested some good mobile games, and these were both on it, which surprised me based on one of them. But one of them was Don't Starve, the mobile version.
Ah, okay.
Am I right in thinking that you've actually played this on desktop, maybe?
That's right. Yeah, I've got some limited experience playing it on PC with Soph. She knows the game a lot better than I do. So we were playing Don't Starve together, the cooperative one. I think we only gave it one good sesh. There was kind of a lot to learn. Thankfully, she was there to help me out. And it was pretty good. How did you find it on mobile?
It's been quite an interesting one. So you give kind of an idea of the premise. You're this, what are you? A bit of a scientist bloke, and seemingly has this experiment go wrong. Somebody's telling him what to do, and he gets warped into another world or dimension or something. And you just basically wake up with nothing, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. Which isn't ideal. Not the best way to start your day.
No, things go pretty tits up for him, and yeah, it's I found it all right. I kind of read the premise of it, and I thought it sounded really up my street. But then I kind of when I got going to it, it's like you say, I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I just went around picking stuff up. So you can pick up the likes of berries and like grass, and if you're lucky, you might find a dead person on the floor, and you can find his axe, which is pretty handy.
Oh, that's handy. I never encountered one of those when I played it.
No, I can't remember if I encountered that straight away or whether it was one of my other playthroughs. But yeah, you can find kind of like twigs as well, can't you? And eventually, you can end up sort of finding enough to make a fire. And I think that's the first hurdle, isn't it? Surviving through the first night.
Definitely.
But I think with this game, I've always died for the same reason. I got to the end of the day. It got to a point where I've died quite a lot, and I've always died for the same reason, because I get to the end of the day and I realise I don't have enough grass to make a fire. I even did that after being survived. Well, yeah, but I did it even after I survived. Like my latest playthrough, I survived for ages. I had a backpack full of every fucking thing that I didn't need except grass. And I was like, oh, for God's sake.
Unlucky.
Strangely hard to find on my games, that grass. But no, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, really, because I kind of I chop a lot of wood.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of materials, but I can never seem to make anything that's really that useful.
Okay, so is it kind of a lack of direction? You're not really sure what you should be making and what you can make?
Ooh, yeah, I think so. I get kind of bored because I can make loads of tools, but then that's just for making more fighters, and then I can make some clothes. Well, that doesn't seem to make him any happy. You've got your different bars, haven't you? You've got like you've got your health bar, you've got your food bar, and then the other one is like happiness or something.
Yeah, it's kind of sanity or something, I think.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't. No matter what I did, I couldn't really make him more sane. I think that's just because he was getting rained on all the time in a soggy hat.
It's going to make you pretty grumpy.
Yeah, I think the long and short of this game is that I'm not very good at it, and I keep getting him killed, and I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it's something that definitely benefits from either someone who knows what they're doing to walk you through it, or having a good read of the wiki. But then that takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I suppose it kind of loses that explorative side of it where you kind of find these things out yourself.
True. But I do think that kind of the really basic survival stuff is very much just scratching the surface. Like, from what Soph was alluding to when she was walking me through the game, there is a hell of a lot of depth to it, actually. And there's some really sort of complex things you can do, and you can make some like kick-ass bases and get some amazing items and all sorts. That's if you get that far and know what you're doing. Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me. I suppose I just feel like I don't really feel motivated to do anything.
No.
Because I don't feel overly threatened in the environment. There's, apart from in the evenings, there's been no sort of enemies or anything. There's been some big fat pig king thing asleep.
Oh yeah,
which made me laugh. I don't know what his crack was, but I just avoided him. There was a few wasps here and there that I avoided, but I just felt like I didn't really have that much direction with it. I was just kind of existing day to day and not really feeling like there was an end goal or point.
And when that's coupled with kind of the frustration of permadeath, like if you're trying to work out what you're doing and then you just die and have to start all over again.
Yeah, I was frustrated the last time I did it, because the first few times I was new to it and I was just a bit crap. But the last time I saved loads of stuff, found loads of stuff all over the place, and thought I had some grass to make a fire. But
you were very much mistaken.
Yeah, I just thought, I'd even made a new backpack. I think that was one of the few things I'd made that was actually of use, just another backpack to store more stuff.
Yeah, that is handy. And then you lost it.
Yeah, lost it all now.
Yeah.
So I do think, especially as you say, with there being a lot more depth to it, I do think I want to go down that and kind of explore it further. But it's just getting motivated to start again now I've died.
That's fair.
But on the whole, it's decent and I've enjoyed it, so I can't complain.
So as you say, that was quite a good toilet game, but there's one that you didn't get on with so well.
Yeah, so the second
to hear about this.
Yeah, this second one was recommended by this same article of good toilet games, although they didn't call it that. But yeah, so this what's it called? Marvel Avengers Academy.
Right.
Now, just to put it out there, I'm not interested overly in Marvel or Avengers or anything. In fact, I was quite interested to learn that there's a lot more to the Avengers than just the 4. Is it 4 that are in the films?
I think it's a bit more than 4. I couldn't tell you how many
it seems like there's shitloads, because I looked it up, because all these new people kept joining the Academy. I was like, who the fuck's that? Apparently they're all, at some point, been in the Avengers. But yes, the premise of this game is that it's all the superheroes from the Avengers, but they're all essentially teenagers in this academy.
Oh, right.
Before they were Avengers. And there's some rival school that you're supposed to be fighting against, and you start with one of them, Wasp, I think she's called, and then a young Iron Man soon joins. And at first I thought it seemed kind of cool, because there was like this base building element, and you set them tasks, and they do little things to develop, and it's quite satisfying, almost in a kind of Sims-esque way.
Oh, that's not what I expected. I must admit, I did wonder what kind of genre it actually was. That wouldn't be the kind of thing I expected.
Well, yeah, and I don't get me wrong, I don't really mind that, but I think as far as I could figure out, as far as I played, that's all there really was to it. So there was this rival base who they had to defeat, and they did at some point get into a fight and beat them, but it was just a quick, cutscene essentially. And then he carried on back in your base. So I just think it's just making more base and setting. It just felt like busy work. It was just like, when you get a notification on your phone, it's like Dr. Dickhead's finished his job. Do you want to set him another one? It's like
those.
Right, no, I don't really want to set him another one. He's like, go dance or something, and then you set someone else, go study. And then they collect shit, and then you can carry on building your base for more shit, and then every now and again you can recruit a new person, and you can tell them to do shit. And it all just feels like just busy work.
I think mobile games like that, they really... They kind of serve the purpose of passing time and keeping you occupied when you're really bored, but I think they struggle to really have enough meaning and purpose to make it feel like you're actually doing something worthwhile. I mean, games really, they are just a way to pass the time, but you can get a lot out of them, can't you? Whether it's a good storyline or just some really engaging kind of gameplay, but they just sound like you're literally just clicking stuff, waiting, rinse and repeat.
Essentially, that's what it was. And I think, I don't know, Marvel fans might get a bit of satisfaction out of the fact that some of these younger versions of the superheroes like chat together,
maybe,
and have little skits, which they might find entertaining, or I don't know if you're into that. But as you say, outside of like little chats, you just telling these miniature heroes what to do. And I thought that'd be all right if there was some sort of combat mechanic as well and other things, but it was just literally set task after task, and then you might be rewarded with someone else to set a task or a new building to set more tasks in.
So is it kind of very, very undemanding, not really much skill required, it's just kind of a case of patience and just going through the motions?
Yeah, as far as I can remember, there was no skill whatsoever. Like, it was just literally setting tasks and waiting. The quicker you'd advance is just basically how much more time you put into telling people to do things, and how quickly you go back to them once they finish their last task.
Okay.
So I quickly got fed up with that one, I think.
Makes sense.
Fair to say, yeah.
Well, you win some, you lose some. It's there's obviously some people have got some enjoyment out of that, but it's obviously not for you. And to be honest, it probably wouldn't be for me either.
No. But if you're a Marvel fan, check it out. It's free.
Sweet. That's a glowing recommendation there. Thanks for that. Cool.
So then, well, I'm very excited about... Well, I know for a fact one of the games you've been playing.
Okay.
So do you want to start on that one, or do you want to tell me about the other one? Because I don't know what the other one is.
No, we'll start with the main one, which I know that you want to hear about.
So we've had the starter, so this is the main course.
Yes, but then there's a little bonus dessert, which is actually related in some ways to the games that you were talking about, but we'll get to that in a bit. So
cool.
The main game that I've been playing is Persona 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been incredibly excited for this one. To be honest, I am, some kind of a gaming enthusiast, but I generally don't get that hyped for new releases. Games come out, I like to see how they do, pick them up sometime down the line when they've gone down in price. I don't buy many at launch, as you know. And usually I can just patiently wait for a game to come out and have been out for a while before I get it.
Yep.
Now, this is definitely an exception to the rule. Persona 4, which I played on the Vita, that's one of my favourite games ever made. I put a lot of time to that game, and yeah, it's probably got to be within my top 5, I think. And so...
What else is in your top 5? Curiosity.
God, now you put me on the spot, aren't you?
I'm sure I've asked this before, but... And
Probably not
probably
on the
just the same. Possibly. I don't
No,
know.
it's cheating, but I'd like to put all of Elder Scrolls as one. That's very much cheating. But
I'll allow that.
I'd struggle to decide between Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. I think Ocarina of Time's got to be up there, even though nowadays it wouldn't be something that I'd choose to play over anything else.
No, I don't think I'd enjoy playing it again, but at the time it was groundbreaking.
Yeah, for quite a few years, that was my number one game of all time.
Yeah.
After that, though, I'm not entirely sure. I think at least one of the Mario games would have to be there, like either possibly Mario 64. But again, it's not something I would choose to play today. But for quite a few years, I held that as one of my favourite games. So it's a difficult.
Yeah,
one.
that was a fantastic game.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so anyway,
So you love Persona 4.
Yeah, needless to say, I've been very excited for Persona 5. I mean, technically, Persona 4 on the Vita, it was a very old game. It was a remake of a PS2 game. So to have a brand new Persona game coming out on PS4 got me pretty hyped. And we've had to wait for a long time. I think there's been a couple of delays of the release date, but it's finally come out. And I've had a chance to spend some time with it, not as much time as I would have liked, but so far it's pretty promising.
Well, luckily, Soph was away for a bit, wasn't she? So managed to keep her out of the way so you could just crack on and create online Japanese girlfriends in high school.
Well, that's it. Why have real life flesh and blood girlfriends when, as you say, there's Japanese high school girls to speak to instead?
Well, I've always been saying this, but people just give me funny looks, and I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, don't you let them. Don't you let them judge you.
Yeah. Well, fuck the haters.
Absolutely. Now, I still feel, even though I've played this for a few hours, I still feel like I'm kind of in the introduction.
It's no surprise considering.
Yeah, because, the game is meant to be about 100 hours long or so.
I think it's actually, this was never a concern for me when I was younger, but I think getting older and with more limited time, this is something that puts me off big role-playing games more than ever. Just knowing that those first 5 hours can actually be just quite a chore. I find it sometimes a chore, and you just know you have to power through and get to the point where you've got to grips with things. And that's when you really start enjoying them, I find. Yeah,
that's fair. It's still quite story-driven at the moment. Well, it's always going to be story-driven, but at the moment it's a lot of cutscenes. It's very much holding my hand throughout the game. It's got to the point now where I am exploring a bit and fighting, but it's not really introduced all the mechanics yet. I don't really have true freedom over what I do. Now, for anyone who's not familiar with Persona, you kind of live through essentially a whole year, and pretty much every day you get to do what you want. You go to school on school days. You can choose what friends you hang out with, and that has impact on the game. You've kind of got decisions which shape the story. You can choose what school clubs you want to go to. And then after school, you can you can have a part-time job, you can explore the town, and you can actually go into dungeons, fight enemies, capture new monsters. So it's very open-ended. You've got lots of side quests to fulfill. But so once the game fully gets into it, you can choose exactly what you want to do. But at the moment, I'm still kind of at the point where it's leading me through each day.
Yep.
So it's good. Yeah, what I will say is this one, if you've never...
And I'm and I almost ordered this, but I've decided to wait till payday. But I do think I am going to pick this up.
Cool. So what I will say is that I think this is ideal for someone who's never played Persona before, because it does do a really good job of introducing you to everything. You're not just chucked in and left to get on with it. You've obviously got some advantages if you've played it before, because even though there's a definite kind of evolution of some aspects, it does go through everything and explain it all. So you'll be able to learn and pick it up easily enough. There's plenty of chance there.
Great.
So just to try and quickly sum it up, as we said, you're in a Japanese high school. You're quite young. For a certain reason, you've been, I think, expelled from your previous school and sent to another place.
What did you do?
Well, we won't get into that. I'll try to keep it low on spoilers if possible, even though it's probably a massive point.
I know what you did.
Oh yeah. You know me. So you're sent to this other school, this other town, and told to be on best behaviour. Now, you obviously meet some people there, start to make some friends, but what happens is you accidentally kind of get plunged into this alternative world.
It's a bit inconvenient when you're trying to behave.
I know. When, he goes there with the best of intentions. He's not really.
He's promised not to come on to any more teachers. He said he's not going to fucking do it. Yeah. And now he's been plunged into a alternate universe.
Yeah. I know. It's not good. It's not what you want. And it then kind of falls on your shoulders and those who you befriend to kind of fight through this alternative universe, which then affects the real universe, because it's kind of it's kind of born from other characters' psyches. That's how Persona usually works. This one's slightly different, but the last one, Persona 4, I think each dungeon was kind of like a big castle, which it's like a big representation of each character's mind.
Yep.
And so you'd have to kind of go in there and do some kind of weird version of psychotherapy to essentially help someone out. It's a bit of a weird way of thinking about it.
Was this the same one that was through the television, or was that a different one?
Yeah, number 4 was through the television. That's right. That's how you'd access the other world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right, if I'm remembering it correctly. So this has kind of a similar idea to it, but it does a difference. Is similar, but with a bit of a tweak. It's very much kind of Pokemon style. You can catch new creatures, and they've all got different elements which are kind of strong and weak against each other. I find the combat really engaging because it feels more fast-paced and like you've got more options than Pokemon, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, that doesn't take a lot, does it? More options than 4.
Yeah, that sums it up quite well, to be honest. In this one, you can actually... It builds in a mechanic which was only previously available in Shin Megami Tensei, which is actually where Persona... So Persona is actually part of the Shin Megami Tensei series. We'll call it SMT. Now, SMT has this one mechanic where, as well as fighting the monsters and trying to capture them, you can actually talk to them. And then you can go through these weird dialogues, they're a bit surreal, where you try to persuade them. This is when you've kind of beaten them down a bit and you've got the upper hand. You either persuade them to give you money or items to leave them alone, or you try and persuade them to join your team.
Okay.
So they've kind of added that bit into it. So it's a bit more exciting than just chucking a Pokeball and hoping for the best.
So you beat the crap out of creatures and then tell them to join you or you mug them?
Yeah, basically. It's pretty good fun. Pretty good fun. So yeah, it is very early days. I can't pass a full judgment on it yet. What I will say is that on Metacritic, it's currently sitting at 94%, which makes it currently the 3rd top PS4 game of all time, reviews-wise.
Fantastic. Do you know what the other 2 are? Is that of interest?
So just above that is The Last of Us Remastered, and at the very top is GTA 5.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, it does look really good. And I think, going back to what you were saying about the psyche, I remember watching a review and I thought that seemed really interesting. It's like, wasn't it like basically what you're saying, every dungeon's based around like that person's, I don't know, character traits or obsessions or problems, and that's kind of built into the mechanics.
So yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, the story and the dialogue, it's all very hammy and cheesy. It's not something you can take too seriously, but it's all good fun. It's not like it's boring. It's just a bit daft. So you just kind of got to suspend judgment.
What you expect from, or what I've come to expect, I think, from JRPGs.
Yeah, definitely. It
always makes me laugh that these people who have the most responsibility on their shoulders are always like 17, 16. It's like that video. What's his Spoony experiment made about Final Fantasy VIII, and it's like, this is what you get when your army's made up entirely of 17 and 16-year-olds. You think like the squaw was supposed to be like 17, and he was like leading a troop, the most important like seeds. They were all like 17 or 16. You think, yeah, this is obviously going to go to shit when this is the people you're investing in.
Yeah, fucking hell, I can't imagine doing that when I was 17. Christ.
Well, you can't imagine running around with a gun blade.
No, I can't imagine that either, admittedly. Would be pretty badass, but no, I wouldn't be very good at it.
But yeah, youngsters saving the world. That's what goes on in Japan.
It certainly is. What a magical place full of wonder.
We should go sometime. Maybe for celebrate podcast number 100. We'll do it from Japan.
So we've got a bit of time to save up then, yeah?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
At this rate, we'll be about 45.
Oh, God, we will, won't we?
Yeah, especially if we have hiatuses.
I look forward to that. Well, I hope to put a lot more time into it and give you more of an update in future episodes as I'm getting further into it. So we'll leave that as it is for now, and then I'll get on to game number 2. So this is a game which I'd heard of, and I'd heard quite good things about, but it's one of those you kind of put in the back of your mind. You think, one day I'll buy that, sure. But then something brought it back to the forefront of my attention. It's a game called Crashlands. And the other day I saw an online video. It was at, I wouldn't say GDP, like Game Developers, something or other. But I could be completely off the mark there. Anyway, it was an hour long, pretty much an hour long, presentation at a Game Developers Conference. GDC? GDP? Whatever.
Yeah, GDC. Game Developers Conference. Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah, I think it was that.
Cutting edge news here. Do you want all the correct
that's
facts
what
from
Google's
the industry?
for. That's what Google's for.
Google is your friend.
We deliver the bullshit.
Gross domestic product, GDC.
That's what I'm thinking of, isn't it?
SNMT, whatever the fuck. Yeah, so people were there. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So so at this UDN conference, what happened?
Right, now it was the developer of Crashlands delivering a presentation on how the game development went. And I think if you're a developer, or even if you're a gamer, these things are sometimes interesting to watch and learn about how a game's developed. Now, this one was particularly interesting and personal because throughout the whole development of the game, the main developer was battling cancer.
Right.
So developing this game was essentially him and his brother's idea of something he could do to keep his mind off it.
Yeah.
And he went through a lot of shit.
Sorry, just to get more.
Go ahead.
Did he was diagnosed with cancer and then he decided to develop the game, or they were already developing it and decided it was a good way to keep him distracted from it by continuing?
Actually, I forgot which way around you said it. But
the former. So he was diagnosed and then said, right, let's make a game.
That's right. That's right. They were game developers before, mobile developers, but it was, they admitted themselves they weren't very good. The games, they'd just done a couple of games before. They were pretty shoddy and basic, not particularly good. So this game was kind of the developer's big kind of middle finger up to cancer, he was like, you know, if I might die, I want to make something good before that happens.
Yeah.
And something to keep him going throughout the process. And, you know, it sounds like it was a very difficult process. He was, well, I mean, as a lot of people battling cancer, he was pretty on the ropes. And, you know, there was cases of them thinking it was gone, but it wasn't. It was coming back. It was getting stronger. And all throughout him and, yeah, just his small, close-knit team of, like, family members were developing the game. It kind of went from strength to strength. It started out quite basic, sort of similar to stuff they'd made in the past, but the more time that they poured into it actually made it start to become pretty decent in the end. And then by the time it released, it got quite a lot of critical acclaim, really, especially on mobile. It's actually available on PC as well. And I was initially thinking of buying the PC version, but I decided to get the mobile version. They're actually the exact same game, and you can synchronize your saves across the two, which is quite a neat function. So anyway, after watching that, you know, that conference video, which was really interesting, and it was obviously quite sort of powerful and moving to watch it. It just inspired me to finally get the game like I'd been planning to for so long. Yep. And it's pretty decent. Now, I said it was kind of related to a game that you talked about, which is Don't Starve. Yeah, there's some definite similarities there. It is kind of like a survival game, but instead it's you're kind of an astronaut who crash lands on an alien planet, and you've got to go around scavenging stuff there and fighting monsters and generally surviving.
Yeah, it does sound similar.
Now, there's a couple of important decisions which set it apart from Don't Starve, which don't necessarily make it a better game, but they make it a different game.
Yep.
And something that's more up my street personally. So one interesting decision, which in fact the developer spoke about, was quite pivotal in the game's development, was you actually have an unlimited inventory. So you know how you were saying about picking up crap in Don't Starve, you soon filled up and you have to make a backpack.
I hate that. It's my pet peeve of gaming. It's just such a chore. I kind of understand why you need to do it, and I know it's kind of daft, the thought of this guy wandering around with an absolute fuck ton of, I don't know, random shit in his backpack, but there's nothing fun about clearing out an inventory so you can pick up more wood.
No, or more grass. So you can fire.
It's just like it was one of the few things that wound me up about Witcher.
And that was more forgiving, really, wasn't it?
Yes, but when you got the right carry bags, you could really get away with quite a lot. Yeah.
So anyway, that's one decision which I think was, as you say, from a realism point of view, not too good, but from a gameplay point of view, makes it a lot less frustrating.
Yeah.
And the other main decision is that there's no permadeath. When you die, you just respawn.
Fantastic.
So I think this was kind of born from the idea of this guy wanting to make something fun and relaxing, rather than something that's super stressful. But
yeah, and I imagine, well, I don't know, but I suppose that might have been the frame of mind he was in at that point. He's not going to want to be, if he's feeling stressed and ill, you're going to be thinking more relief, aren't you? And relax rather than, I don't know. I guess there's different ways of going about it, but I suppose if he was feeling a certain way and he wanted to vent that into a project, then perhaps, but I don't know. I just think you would be thinking more. I think if you're in that, well, it's difficult to say, but I can kind of understand why you'd want to create something more relaxed and chilled out and positive from that kind of situation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I can totally get that. I think that would have been a big influence on it. So yeah, as a result, I've really enjoyed playing it. I've not put a huge amount of time into it, but I've had quite a bit of travel time recently where I was just sat with my phone, and I'll probably put a few hours into it now, and it's just very very relaxing. It still feels rewarding, and there's still a bit of challenge there. You're very much quite a weakling when you first dropped into the world, and to an extent I still kind of am. You build up, you build yourself up, you build your base, you build better armor and weapons and stuff, but there's still a lot of enemies that I kind of struggle to fight, and it's still very early days. I think there's several biomes, so several different environments or kind of levels.
Yep.
And in fact, I think it's procedurally generated or something along those lines. I think so. But there's several different types of world, and I'm still in the first one. There's actually quite a bit of story to it, which is interesting. There's a lot of charm to the characters. They're quite funny and witty. It's just all very light-hearted.
So nice. You meet others, do you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you meet like tribes on the alien world. Do side quests for them.
Lovely. No, it sounds good fun. Yeah. Lovely.
Now, I think that's about enough said about that, really.
Cool.
So, from one toilet game after several toilet games to another toilet game.
Yes. So many toilet games.
Yes, so many toilet games. What was the one that you were given? I can't remember the name.
Well, that's a good question. Was it Tails and Tiles or Tiles and Tails?
Now that is a very important fact that we get right.
Let me check.
And as we determine,
Tiles and Tails.
Tiles and Tails. As we determine, that's Tails as in the story, not the body part.
Animal. Not the human body part. Not like a furry. That's what they call, isn't it? Furries.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, not like them. Not their kind of Tails. Tales of Symphonia kind of Tales.
Lovely. Okay, well, I'd love to hear about how you got on with that one.
So, I remember you saying that you had to choose from a few options for last time's toilet game, and I'm glad you picked this one because it is actually a very good free toilet game. In terms of title integrity, which I'm a big fan of, there definitely is tiles.
Good start.
Tails, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be much of a story to it. You just beating the crap out of things. But I suppose that's a tale.
Yeah, it's a tale in its own right.
Yeah, it's in a nice kind of what's the word? Like I don't know, story environment kind of thing. Fairy tale shit. Well, not fairy tale. You know what I mean?
General kind of high fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy. That was what I was looking for. Yeah. So you are, well, you start as a woman, and you have a weapon, and the way this works in terms of combining combat with tiles is you have a grid system in front of you, and you can't move. You can't move individual tiles. You have to move them all in one direction. So up, down, left, or right. So say, for example, you've got a couple of tiles on the screen. You move them all right.
Okay.
Then they'd all fly to the right-hand side and be stacked kind of on the right, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But they can bump into each other. But if they're the same colour, they collect together and the points increase. So it's kind of difficult to explain, but basically what you've got is you've got attack tiles, you've got these sort of crystal tiles which help you, or portal tiles that help you move towards the end of the level. I'll explain this in a sec. Okay. You've got healing tiles and you've got chest tiles. Oh, and you've got gold tiles as well, which you can use to purchase upgrades and stuff when you collect them together. So let's say you start in the level. You've got your woman on the left, and you've got your enemy on the right, which for some reason you need to beat the shit out of. And this is where I'm not quite sure where the Tails comes into it, because I don't know why you're beating the shit out of them, but you are, or they're beating the shit out of you, depending on how well you're playing. Yeah. So when it's an enemy, that's when you've got to collect your red tiles together. So you move to the right, down, move them around, and try and collect as many. So say, for example, this enemy's got 15 health. If you can collect 2 red tiles together that are worth 2 points each, then you've got 4. And then you've got a certain number of moves. So each swipe is a move. If you can end up blocking yourself off. So if there's a red tile and then to the left of it is a green tile, and then to the left of that a red tile, then you can't combine those red tiles because there's a green in the middle, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay.
So
it sounds quite tactical.
Yeah, but it is tactical, but it's not too difficult. It's not like I wouldn't be worried about a kid playing this within reason,
Newborn.
Yeah, I wouldn't
straight out of the womb.
Wouldn't stick a newborn on it, or a 3-year-old. But getting towards the 8s, 10s kind of thing. Probably, I don't really know, but I imagine that'd be fine.
Cool. Okay, so it's got that level of challenge which we talked about earlier, it being quite essential, but it's not too taxing.
Yeah, and I think you could. It does start off really easy, and it gets a bit trickier as it goes on. But also, you by putting a bit more thought into it, you can play really well and get bonuses and things. So, say for example, if you overkill. So I was explaining about. It's so difficult to explain like that in front of you. So you're trying to kill an enemy, and you kill them by collecting the red tiles together. So say it's got 15, and you get that 15, and then there's these blue tiles as well, and they combine the same way. But to complete a level, you have to collect a certain amount of them to summon the portal. So you might. Okay. So say you've killed an enemy that had 15 health by collecting. You might have collected 8 worth of points the first time, and then so if you get to the end of a round, which starts off at I think 3 or 4 moves, that's when the enemy attacks you, and you have health as well, and they just do a straight attack. You don't see their board or anything; they just hit you, and then it's your move again. But when you defeat an enemy, then the highest collection of blue tiles then works towards the portal, which is when you complete the level. So you might need to collect, I don't know, a total of 10. And if you've got 4...
Right, okay.
But there's also healing. So after some enemies, you'll end up, you've collected together, the highest, it'll only take the highest one. So say, and it's the same with all of them. So if you've got one, if you've collected together 15's worth of red square, that will be used. And the 4, if you've got like 4 in another corner, that'll be ignored for that turn. If that makes sense.
Okay.
And that'll be used for the attack. And then the same for healing. And then there's treasure chests as well. And they're purple tiles. And you have to get a certain number of that for opening the treasure chest, and then that's when you get bonus items.
Wow, so there's quite a lot to keep on top of then.
I think as I say, it's quite difficult to explain. I think that perhaps makes it sound more complicated than it is.
I think it's the kind of thing where you could never 100% explain it and someone visualise it in their mind without just giving it a go themselves.
Yeah.
It sounds like something I'd be interested in trying. It does sound pretty decent.
Yeah, it is good. And I have been playing it quite consistently since you set it for me. And it has got nice RPG elements as well. Like you do collect gold as you go through, and you can use that to level up. So you level up your attack tiles to make them worth more. So each tile might be worth 3 instead of 2. And then if you combine 2, obviously it's worth 6 as opposed to 4. And that keeps going.
A nice feeling of progression then.
Yeah. You can upgrade. They've recently done an update where you can upgrade your weapons. There's 4 different characters to unlock. There's you can upgrade how much health you have, how much all the different tiles are worth, how much like defense you have. Things like this. There's special magic items. So there's a nice amount of depth to it. So yeah, on the whole, very good. Very pleased with it.
Great. Glad to hear it.
Thank you for that.
We have had a good episode for toilet games this episode, haven't we? Been pretty damn good.
Doing a lot of good things on the toilet. The one thing I would say, though,
yes,
is that as the levels go on, they do get a bit long. Probably too long for a toilet break. So the number of portal tiles you have to collect by the time you get a fair few levels in it does get a bit repetitive. It's kind of like, I wish I didn't have to collect 100 of these tiles.
Okay. So it feels like it's artificially extending it longer than it needs to, in a way.
Well, that's it. If you're playing it at work, then there's going to be complaints about the amount of time you're on the toilet. Because
so that's what those complaints that you were about then.
I couldn't really I couldn't be like, no, I was genuinely 45 minutes. I'm ill. And they're like, no, you're just playing Tales and Tiles of Symphonia or whatever. It's like, we know you are because we can hear it going ka-ching from outside the cubicle. So
one day you'll put your mobile on silent, but
can you do that? But yeah, no, very good,
brilliant. Well, let me lay the next one on you, shall I?
Please do.
Now, funny enough, after we were talking about the skill required of you to play a mobile game or a toilet game, I've got one here which claims to be a mobile esport of all things.
Okay. Fuck me. So,
how are you feeling about that?
I'll tell you this. I am not feeling like I'm perhaps the best demographic for esports.
I think you could be a toilet sport champion.
Well, watch this space, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll have to find out next episode. So the game's actually called Bazoo.
Bazoo? Okay.
Bazoo. By Is Cool Entertainment, which I think is an interesting name of a studio.
Well, I don't know. It's confident.
It is confident. It is confident. So let's get the blurb up. Good news for genuine mobile gamers. Here comes Bazoo, a 100% skill-based mobile esport game. So 100% of your efforts are skill-based. There's no luck. There's no leaving it to chance. There's no clicking and waiting.
They could have given me a little bit of luck, couldn't they? They could have given me 20% luck.
No. It is time to unlearn what you learned about arcade games. Get ready for intense and frenzied online battles in real time with players from all around the world. How does that sound?
This sounds like it could go either way. It sounds like I could come back in 2 weeks or whatever and be like, I played that once. Or I'm going to come back and I'm going to be an absolute total fucking addict with a terrible rating because I've picked the Bazoo equivalent of McCree and keep losing. But
and you'll have lost your job because of your amount of time spent on the toilet.
Yeah,
rising up the leaderboards.
There's only so many days you can tell people you've got food poisoning before you get fired.
Well. I'll send you the link to that one later. And
it's all right. I've already got it in front of me.
Have you?
It's installed.
Well, don't play it until the end of the podcast. You know, we want your full undivided attention.
Yeah.
But after that, please do feel free to go all out. I might even join you on it if I get a chance. I might see if I can have a battle with you or two, maybe. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
That would be fantastic. I think that'd be a first. A joint toilet game.
First. We'll both sit on the toilet, separate toilets. Maybe cubicles alongside each other. How's that sound?
Yeah, and just to make it sound better, we could just stick a little glory hole between the two. Imagine that at work.
I'd love to see the office-wide email that goes around after that.
A hole has been drilled in the office cubicle. Out of order.
Really would be out of order.
Yeah, hardly frowned upon, I imagine.
Well, Bazoo.
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 See you there.
Yeah, see you there. Brilliant. Right, that's that feature done with. So the next one is the infamous bargain bin bundle bollocks.
Always a highlight of my fortnight, I think.
If you say so. Now, this one took me a while to decide on one for this episode, but I opted for the aptly named Indie Gala Hump Day bundle.
Oh, yes.
Now, it was referring to it being a Wednesday, but as
Double
it turns
entendre.
out... Well, yeah. As it turns out, the game itself, Sakura Fantasy...
Is it about a camel?
No camels. No camels. But it is a bit pervy.
Oh, well. Excellent. I do know how much you enjoy playing pervy games in front of Soph.
Well, luckily, I think Soph wasn't around for this one. I'm not sure how much she would have enjoyed it. Now, as you know, I've got some experience with visual novels, and this is one of those.
Okay. And
some of those visual novels in the past were a bit pervy. This one is particularly pervy.
Excellent.
The premise is that you're a female knight in what appears to be a barracks full of female knights.
Okay, right.
Now,
Fantastic.
Obviously, this is anime. All of the women in the camp, I think bar none, have ridiculous proportions.
Yeah. And I'm guessing we're not talking big, powerful biceps here.
No, although maybe some of them have those as well.
Okay, well, that's good then. I suppose if you're going to be a knight, you can't carry a sword with your boobs, can you? Or could you?
Well, I think these ones would try. I'm waiting for that scene to happen. It wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, excellent.
So it's actually, this feature's all about finding bollocks, and I wouldn't exactly call this game of the year, but it's a visual novel, which is obviously very story based, and even though the story is ridiculous, which, as we say, is par for the course with most anime games, it's all right in some respects. It's fairly well written, to be honest. There's a lot of dialogue, and presumably it must have been translated. I imagine it was initially Japanese and then translated, and they seem to have done an okay job of it. Again, it's quite cheesy and ridiculous. So in this barracks, you're kind of training up to become one day a powerful knight wearing very little armour.
Well, that's it. You just need a tiny bit of armour covering your nipples, really, don't you? And then what's the point in the rest of it?
That's it. You have kind of your steel thong.
Yeah.
And you're good to go, right?
Isn't it? Yeah. Just look at the Dothraki. They're all right, aren't they?
Yeah. That's true, actually. They kick ass.
Yeah. They get their pecs out all over the place, so...
Now, in fact, the game is led by your decisions to some extent. And the very first decision when the game first starts is, quick, I've got to put my armour on. Do I bother wearing underwear because I'm in a rush? So the very first choice you make is, yes, I'll put underwear on, or no, I won't bother.
Yeah, I'd love to know the butterfly effect of this.
I would as well, because I'm not that far through the game yet, and there doesn't seem to have been any consequences from that.
Did you put it on?
No. I thought with a game like this, it wouldn't be my usual choice of game, but if I'm going to go for it, then I should play it like the geeky, horny 13-year-old boy this kind of game is marketed to.
Yeah, well, I think it makes sense to play the way the designer would want you to play.
I think so.
And that, yeah, I think that's the way you've got to go. You just got to play it like a whore. Like you're a total man whore playing as a woman whore, I suppose.
That sums it up nicely. Some of the other decisions kind of revolve around, like one example, the guard captain or commander or whatever she is. You knock on her office and she doesn't answer. Your options are wait longer or go in anyway.
Yeah,
Can you
go
imagine
anyway.
what the outcome of going in anyway is?
I imagine she was up to some sort of no good.
Well, she wasn't up to no good, but she wasn't up to wearing much at the time.
Ah, okay, yeah, of course, yeah. If you go, yeah, she was just getting dressed, was she? And she also wasn't wearing underwear.
Yeah, so that was a very inconvenient timing. And then, like 20 minutes later, you get the same option again, which, funnily enough, leads to exactly the same outcome as before. Your character's also blessed with a special gift where she can basically think about someone and perv on them from afar.
How's that a special power, isn't it?
I mean, for some people, they would hold that in high regard as, yeah, a pretty special power.
So you don't mean in her head, she could actually think of someone and see them, what they're up to at that point?
Yeah. So naturally, she's thinking of, like, people in the bath and... it's fucking ridiculous. I was cringing hard when I was playing it. I really was.
Cringing hard, is like...
Cringing hard. Yeah, that's what
I was
we'll call
hard and cringing.
Fucking hell. So yeah, each time something like this happens, you're treated to obviously a very pervy scene, which is fine if you're into that kind of thing. I've never found that anime really floats my boat, to be honest. I kind of prefer real flesh and blood. But each to their own.
That's your own shortcomings, really, isn't it? Because it's like we were saying earlier, why have real when you can have that? When you can have a disproportionate cartoon lesbian who can see people in the bath just by thinking about them.
I know. When you put it like that, I think I can see the error of my ways, to be honest.
Well, that's it, isn't it? And you don't have to put any effort in. You don't have to whine or dine.
Just walk in on them.
Yeah, don't have to put up with anything. It's just walk in on them.
Well, that's a life lesson for you there, isn't it?
There's no repercussions in fantasy land. I wouldn't recommend it in real life. Just throwing that out there. But yeah.
That's what Fantasyland's for.
So,
Sakura Fantasy. Aptly named. It does what it's meant to do. And it's not too shit. And I've only played it for a couple of hours. But I'm barely...
a couple of hours? Poor bastard.
I try to be committed to this shit.
Well, you clearly are.
I try. But it doesn't really feel like I'm even a fraction of the way through the story. So if this is your kind of thing, then I imagine you're getting quite a good amount of value for money here, especially when this was in a bundle with a bunch of other games for about £3 odd, £3.20, something like that.
Was it all like kind of pervy games in?
No,
really?
It's very, very much a random mixture, to be honest. I'm gonna have to have a look through.
An eclectic bunch.
Yeah, it was. There were some weird looking examples in there. So with any luck, I might have a good one for next episode as well. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah. No, that sounds good, and I know we were talking about doing more Let's Plays, and it could be a laugh to do it. Is it YouTube friendly? There's no tits and fanny in it, is there?
No, it is somewhat censored. Apparently, you can download some dodgy patch which makes it even pervier.
Of course you can.
Apparently, because that's pretty standard, isn't it? Like with most games. where there's any chance of nudity. So, but yeah, in its vanilla form, it's probably YouTube friendly. I don't know whether it'd be the most interesting thing to watch, because a lot of it is just kind of clicking through dialogue. So it's the kind of game where you should either, I guess, experience it yourself, or I'm not sure.
It sounds quite long as well. Like,
yes,
I'm not sure people would be interested in a Sakura fantasy series, or maybe they would. I don't.
Well, maybe, yeah, some obviously would be. There's obviously a target market out there.
Yeah, if you can't be bothered clicking through the story yourself, want to watch me. To not just get you anime women, but my face and voice as well. What could you want?
That sounds pretty top notch, actually.
Anyway, no worries. I'll have a look at what I can do and let's play on.
Brilliant. We'll tell you more about that next episode.
Yeah.
Rightio. Let's round this baby up with a bit of news and releases. Yeah? Sound good?
Yes.
As we said earlier, Persona 5's out to critical acclaim. I hear it's even kind of sold out at the moment, so hopefully it'll be back in stock, ready for you to buy it.
Yeah, hopefully.
I think stuff like that, kind of Japanese imports as such, I think they're kind of done in limited runs. So if they're particularly popular, I think they can have stock issues sometimes.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. It's not the be all end all.
No, I think that neatly segues actually onto a news story which has literally just come out. Although by the time this episode goes up, we'll probably be old hat. But regardless, we'll carry on. Talking of Japanese products being hard to get hold of, the NES Classic.
Oh.
Tamagotchi.
There was something about
Tamagotchis.
Someone said something around about work about that.
They're bringing back Tamagotchis.
That's newsworthy, isn't it?
No, it really isn't.
Okay, done with that.
Sorry, put my foot down there.
So the NES Classic.
The NES Classic.
Let me think. NES Classic. Is this a classic that's a franchise that keeps on going, or was it kind of a...
No, this is referring to the Nintendo Entertainment System Classic. So I don't know if you've seen this, but... so that's the first Nintendo console.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I had one, yeah.
So the NES Classic was like a new version of it that's released fairly recently, not that long ago. It's like a smaller version of it. It's got, I think, 30 games inbuilt. It's just kind of a nostalgia trip for people. But in typical Nintendo fashion, they've not made enough of them. They sold out everywhere. Really hard to get hold of, particularly in America. I think they were a bit tricky to get hold of here, but in America it was fucking impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So people were price gouging them on eBay and all sorts. Now, because Nintendo are fucking morons, and they've just announced that they're discontinuing it.
Well,
so they've got to the stage where this thing has massively exceeded sales expectations. They've not been able to keep up with demand for how many people want to buy it, and they said, "Oh, sorry, we're not going to bother making this anymore. We don't want money. We don't need money."
However,
piss off.
We are going to make some bullshit console that nobody wants.
What, the Switch?
Oh, wait, no, sorry, I'd take that back. People do want it because it's got one good game.
Yeah, that one good game. And in fact, that is also having some stock issues across America, from what I understand.
Yeah, it's just... I don't know.
Nintendo are frustrating. Sometimes. A lot of the time.
It's like you say, it just doesn't make any sense. If the demand's there, why not?
Why not? I know. I mean, we can't speak like we're experts, even though we obviously are. Nintendo haven't given a reason yet. They've just said, sorry, discontinuing it.
I don't think...
Who knows? It is mad.
I don't think you need to be an expert, really, to say... to say that if there's a product that people clearly want and you're making a profit when you're selling units, like it isn't
weird,
rocket science.
I mean, these are basically, they're a low-powered, like probably like a Raspberry Pi inside a small NES-like casing. They've got just some fucking ROMs and emulators built into it, with some cheapo pads where the wire's not long enough and people have moaned about it. And I think they've charged maybe 50 quid for it.
Yeah.
Now, they've got to have been making money on that.
The designer back then would not think in 2017 that game was...
Well, it won't be selling now.
True, yeah.
Gonna be a fortune on eBay, just really hard to get hold of. Stupid. Anyway, I've had enough of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Wound me up.
Yeah. Draw a line under it. Next
what else we got? Oh yeah, Stardew Valley. That's finally coming out on consoles.
Oh, lovely.
I've been telling you to get this for a while, haven't I?
Yeah.
On PC. And seeing as you're more of a console man, you may be tempted by this one.
Yeah, well, I certainly am.
So for anyone who doesn't know, this is a pretty massive acclaim. One guy working away for 5 years or something, making his labour of love, finally releases it, and everyone's like, wow, this is good. And everyone buys it, and he makes a fortune. It's good stuff, really.
Yep. Yeah.
Fancy that. People want to buy his product, and he lets them. And he makes lots of money. It's genius.
Should work for Nintendo, shouldn't it?
You should. You should. On another vaguely Nintendo-related note, Yooka-Laylee released. Have you heard of that one?
Is it a sequel to Banjo-Kazooie?
It's related because it's...
I thought I was joking.
Yeah, no, it's a good guess. If you've not heard of it, it's I think it was made by Rare, or at least some of the developers from Rare, of like the original platformers on N64, as you say, Banjo-Kazooie, that sort of thing. This has been hyped for quite a while. People have been really keen for it to, it's not a genre that really gets any attention these days. You have the 2D platformers still, but like a 3D adventure platformer, it's very last gen, isn't it? Or last gen. It's not something which gets the limelight now. No. Unfortunately, it's not meant to be particularly good.
Oh.
Which is very much a disappointment. It sounds like it's stuck in the trappings of its old, outdated predecessors, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame. Sometimes nostalgia seems to work, and sometimes it's criticised, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't think kind of rose-tinted specs can help if a game is just not that good. Yeah. Which is a shame. I'd have liked to have played it and enjoyed it. I might try it out at some point, who knows? But for now, probably not something that comes with a overly positive recommendation.
What's that out on? Is that consoles?
Yeah. I believe PS4, Xbone. I think it might be coming out on Switch at some point.
Cool.
It was meant to come out on Wii U, but obviously that was dropped like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Never mind. Speaking as a Wii U owner. Well, any other news and releases to speak about?
Oh, no, I rely on you.
That's fine.
Oh, there is Overwatch thingy.
Oh, there is.
Overwatch PvE, player versus environment. What's it?
Yeah, so it's... I'm going to pass the baton to you now because I've not tried it. So anything you can tell us would be gratefully received.
Yeah, so I have played it a couple of times. There's two versions of it. One, which is almost kind of like the canon story, where you have to pick between Reinhardt, Torbjorn, Mercy, and Tracer. It's Tracer's first mission in the story. It's at King's Row. It's attacked by the Omnics, the robots, and it's basically waves of robots in between you. You have to fend them off. It's a bit different. You can revive your allies, which isn't, it's not just Mercy's res that can revive. You run up to them and hold square, which isn't something that you can obviously do in the game.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Of course, that's especially useful in the one where you can pick your own, because you might not have Mercy.
No.
Sorry, yeah. So there's the canon version of it, but you can also go run through the same thing, but with any combination of characters you want. And we've looked through it, haven't we? And it's been really well received. But I personally, I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy it, but I thought it was a bit dull. And I was a bit clock watching with it. So it's not finished yet, kind of thing. Like, okay. I enjoyed it first, and then I enjoyed it a second time, getting to play who I wanted. So I enjoyed, obviously, I like playing McCree, so I enjoyed going back. And then I did kind of think the way it's laid out, perhaps Junkrat would be good to play on it. But no, I didn't massively rate it. I don't know whether that's just the way I'm inclined. Maybe I don't enjoy it. I just found it quite repetitive. Just, there's only a few types of enemies. There's only a few types of Omnics.
Sure.
And it's just kind of run to point A, fend them off for a bit, run to point B, fend them off for a bit, run to point C, fend them off for a bit, run to point E, fend them off for a bit, take the payload essentially somewhere else, fend them off that, then kill a few more, mission ends. There's a few bastions in it, and there's a few of the Orisa, but obviously not. But they're the
unmodified version.
Yeah. So okay. That's quite cool.
I mean, I think it's worth.
All right.
I think it's worth mentioning that it probably doesn't appeal to everyone. You're obviously a big Overwatch fan. You've played it a lot more than I have, but you obviously really enjoy the competitive multiplayer. But I think what is notable to mention is this is just a temporary mode which Blizzard have released for free. It's completely additional to the main game. And it's just commendable that they're releasing this kind of stuff on a regular basis, and they're just doing it for the community. They're not charging for it. They could have left the base game as it was, or just stuck to the same old stuff, but they're constantly releasing these new bits of content, trying out these new ideas. And I think, some of them obviously work, some of them don't, and some of them are obviously a bit divisive, and a lot of people have enjoyed it, but you haven't. But I think the main takeaway is that it's good that they're just at least trying this stuff. Would you agree?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, to be honest. I didn't mean to kind of sound too negative about it.
No, I don't think you came across as slating it.
I think I was just surprised at how overwhelmingly positive it's been received. But as you say, I think if anything, it shows potential more than anything else. I think it shows that there is potential to do other things than just what we're used to. But at the same time, the fact that they've done that for free, yeah, I totally agree. Like, it's not expected.
DLC and
exactly. If you think essentially for a lot of games, Overwatch included, you pay for fucking skins. Like, you don't expect full new modes essentially for free. But yeah, that's what it is.
So, cheers, Blizzard. Yeah, I'd like to give that a shot at some point. I'd be interested to see how I get on with it, see if I have similar thoughts to you, or if I enjoy it more.
And I think to be fair, if we played it together, we'd enjoy it more than just playing it as I did, with strangers, randoms, and not even talking to them.
I think that's always the case, isn't it? That's always been my experience with Overwatch. It's a lot more fun with mates.
Our bloody Torbjorn fucked off as well.
Yeah.
Middle of the mission, bastard Torbjorn. Awful. He wasn't doing a good job anyway. Well, fucked off.
I know that you're a big fan of Torbjorn as it is.
I do like him as a character, but fuck me, I'm never playing him. Anyone where you're playing, your job is to look after a turret or be a turret. Isn't my idea of fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we play together, I'm going to be Torbjorn. How's that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Brilliant. Can't wait. I think that nicely finishes us off there. We've actually had quite a lengthy one this week.
Oh.
I know it's been a little while, so we've had a good catch-up. Lots of quality content for our listeners.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's the long Easter weekend now, isn't it? So you've got plenty of time to edit a longer episode, and you can't fucking whinge about it.
I'll probably not mention this, but we've kind of refined our process a bit, or I have.
Oh no, you've banged on to the listeners about this already.
Okay, a bit.
Ironically, you've tried to cut it down, but you've just by banging on about how you're trying to cut it down.
Shit. Fucked it really, haven't I?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll hopefully have this out to you.
Yeah.
This is the 13th of April today, so you'll be able to hear just how shit of a job I've done, because if you're listening to this in like mid-June, you know I've not done a very good job of getting it out quickly like I promised, but never mind. So, can you finish us off? Any closing words, final remarks?
I finish us off. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to get in touch, there's no way you can, except if you can
telepathy.
There's currently no contact form, but it's fine. We don't have a huge amount of listeners, so I'm not going to be able to work.
Whoa! We've got our new fan.
We have got our new fan. So shout out to him as always.
We might have other fans by now.
We may well do. If you are a fan, please let us know. Leave us an iTunes review, or a review elsewhere. And if we had a contact form, you could let us know that you'd left us a review, and then we could thank you. So I will get on that. It's only a few minute job, so I don't know why I haven't done it. We need to set up an official social media channels, but you can contact James in the meantime on Twitter.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yeah, at Mr.
MisterShepherd.
So yeah, feel free to say hi to him in the meantime until we set up proper social media. And I think in terms of housekeeping, that's it really, isn't it? There's there is the website, there is the YouTube channel. There's not a huge amount on them outside of these podcasts anyway, so except for me playing the grandfather on YouTube.
Which is worth watching.
Yes, absolutely worth watching. Thumbs up, of course. And I think that's it, really.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. We'll speak to you again soon.
Yes, thank you for listening, and we will look forward to speaking to you again next time.
Brilliant. Bye-bye.
Take care. So, James.
Yes.
We've done a bit of tabletop gaming, haven't we?
Oh, we have.
Tell us what you thought of Timeline.
Okay, so Timeline. It's a card game that you recently bought, and we had a bit of a play the other day.
We did.
It's a very simple, basic card game.
Very simple.
Very simple, yeah. Now, the premise is you've got double-sided cards. On one side, you've got an event from history, which could be Europeans discovering America, could be the theory of relativity, could be, I don't know, maybe a certain battle in history, or the development of the X-ray. All sorts of stuff, really, isn't it?
Yep. I had a few medicine ones, didn't I? Oh, and there was a lot to do with like mathematics. We found it quite interesting that there was such a range, like when the equals sign was created compared to the divide and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Now, but so they're double-sided. One side, it just tells you the event, and the other side, it actually has the date. Now, you've got to have them face up with the date hidden, and starting with one card in the middle, you've got to place them, left or right of that one, and then start placing them in relation to all the other cards on where you think they fit on a chronological timeline.
That's the one.
That's the one. So it's very simple. I definitely respected how easy it is to pick up and play. Like, literally, I mean, it's in a way it almost feels designed for kids, because kids can definitely play that. Anyone can play it.
Yeah, and I do think kids would benefit from it as well, from a learning perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if they don't remember the dates, just hearing these terms and maybe looking into them and saying, "Oh, what's that?"
Quite right. I mean, we didn't know what some of the stuff meant, did we?
Not a clue.
So it's not quite interesting. It's not like it's going to make you a genius by itself, but it kind of inspires you to look into it more, as you say. If I'm being brutally honest, I like games I'm good at, and I was fucking awful at that. I think I was the worst out of everyone. I was so bad. You did very well. For someone who, self-proclaimed no knowledge of history whatsoever, you were actually very good at estimating when something was made or when something happened.
I did a lot of guesstimating, and they did hit the mark, but that was heavily luck based, no doubt.
Well, I don't know. It definitely takes some common sense, doesn't it? For that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's all relative. When you can see what's either side, you can kind of have an idea. But some of the stuff is surprising and very interesting. While still having that gameplay mechanic that keeps it fun.
Yeah, I was particularly surprised, that the circumference of the Earth was worked out by an ancient Egyptian in 200 BC. That one shocked me. I was like, oh, that's probably going to be 1500s or something. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yep.
It's not something you'd probably play over and over again.
No.
But I think as a quick game now and then, especially with different people every time, because it is so easy for people to get into.
Yeah, there's no real explaining the rules or anything like that. I kind of think of it as imagine you having your mates round for a night and you're focusing on gaming. That would be quite a nice kind of warm up.
Oh yeah, I'd agree with that.
Before to get people settled in, just get in the mood, just get the conversations flowing. Something that doesn't require too much thought before you get into the main bulk of your night, whether that's digital or analog kind of gaming.
Brilliant. I think that sums it up very well, to be honest. So thanks for buying that and bringing it in for us to try. It'd be nice. I know you've got a proper, fully fledged board game for us to try at some point, so it'd be good for us to give that a go.
Yeah, I certainly think we will talk about that once we've played it. Probably we'll hold that one back and throw it in as a bargain bonus, bollocks bonus, bullshit bonus at the end of an episode. That's what we'll do. So it's just a bit of a meatier game. Requires a bit more of organising.
Nice and meaty.
I know you do. That's why we're mates. So I think the other next one as well is Splatterface. That was...
The less said about that, the better.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Splatterface is a real game. I can confirm that I found out about this game today on the way back from work. Saw it advertised in a shop front, and if I just find a photograph of it here, I can read to you what was displayed on the front of the game. Splatterface. Watch your friends squirm as they play to face their fate. Dare to put your face in? Whipped cream, jelly, or slime? You decide.
Slime. Miscellaneous slime.
It was only $4.99.
Was it really? So it's like a Pie Face rip-off.
Yeah, I suppose. 2 to 4 players. Doesn't say male or female. It's not sexist.
No, everyone's there.
Everyone's welcome to a Splatterface. So yeah, we'll play that one and review that as well.
We won't. We won't.
Look, we could play it on lunchtime. And then someone has to wear the splattered face back to the office.
Fucking hell. Yep, that's one option. I think I'm busy on that day though. Sorry.